Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wrestling with the Paranormal. Oh, and today we got the Black Eyed Kids ready to go. I am your host, the Enlightened One. This here is my co host.
Craig the Gray, ready to wrestle with the paranormal.
Yes, and we are ready to rock and roll, baby, because that's the only way to go. So this is a creepy episode. Uh, just looking at all the stories that we have. Wow, there's a lot. So I just wanted to show you when we say the black-eyed kids, also known as black-eyed children or BEK.
Kind of sounds like a boy band.
Ladies and gentlemen, BK.
Black Eyed Kids are in town.
Oh my goodness, that's freaking creepy.
Wow! I'm sure people have seen pictures of black eyed children.
So I do have a slideshow.
Okay, I'm preparing myself right now psychically to be able to Oh my god! I can't even look. That's terrifying.
That's
She
freaking
eating
creepy,
somebody's
right?
hair?
Yeah, I don't
Why
know
is she
what's
eating
going on.
hair?
Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, so this is obviously a fictional picture.
What do
Someone
you mean
did that.
fictional?
Well, someone did something for like a Halloween or special effects or whatever, right?
Oh, it's not outside your window right now.
No,
Okay.
but we do have an actual picture someone took of a black-eyed kid. Are you ready for this one?
Hit me. I'm ready. I'm ready, baby. Whoa. Okay. That's huh.
You notice they're not too close to this thing, and I wouldn't be either taking the picture.
It's just in the middle of the woods like that.
Yeah, we
That
don't
looks
know where.
creepy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, so if we need to come back to that picture, we will. But yeah, that is what they look like. So before we get into some of these stories,
I just noticed something.
but
The logo on our T-shirt has black eyes. Oh my god.
but it's a skull, so
That's still scary. Okay.
yeah.
But go on.
So let's tell a little bit before we get into some of these stories. Let's tell a little bit about the black-eyed kids. Um, so the one thing that I noticed is that they're always trying to get inside or get access to your home or your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I noticed is that they smell like sulfur.
Yeah. I saw that in the stories.
Another thing that I noticed was that they have an association with the Men in Black.
And that's in a bunch of stories too. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Almost like, are these the children of the Men in Black?
Yeah.
Wow. In this day and age, I guess Men in Black can have children.
So I think we can alternate between stories. I think because we got a few stories to tell today.
That sounds good to me. Yeah.
And I'm going to start off with a quick little story. Not getting too detailed. It's just a simple little story, and I'll let you tell one right after that. So this guy was coming home late from work, and he was taking the bus. And oh, now you're making me thirsty. Gotta drink some of my black-eyed drink.
Everything's black tonight. You're freaking me out, man.
Black-eyed drink.
What is that? Is that black juice?
It's compliments cola. I can't lie.
Oh.
No name cola.
Looked pretty flat. I didn't see any bubbles there.
You criticizing? Well, it's compliments. It's no name. What do you want? There's half the amount of bubbles as a cola or Pepsi.
You couldn't afford the bubbles.
Yeah, they can't afford to be giving out bubbles like left and right. Bubbles cost money.
It's true. It's true.
That would be a great slogan for a
Can you
cola,
get
Pepsi.
extra bubbles? Like, could you
You
get
can
a
get extra
cola
body bubbles,
extra
even
bubbles?
though bubbles cost money. We're in the giving mood. Um, so yeah, so this guy was coming home late one night, and he takes the bus, and he noticed there was this guy on the bus sitting right adjacent to him, and he had a cigar in his mouth, but he wasn't smoking the cigar because you can't
I'm
smoke on
joking.
the bus.
Can't smoke on the bus.
He was chewing the cigar, like he was biting it and
Hmm.
chewing it, like
Hmm.
a kind of like a candy or whatever, right? Just nibbling on it,
Okay.
and he thought that was odd. You know, it kind of draws you in, right? Someone doing that is drawing you in. And the guy turned to him and looked right at him, and he noticed the guy had black eyes,
Whoa.
and he smiled at him, and his teeth were yellow with all little bits of tobacco all kind of in the teeth. And I guess he didn't get off the bus, but he sat up the front near the bus driver, and he noticed just before he got off that the the black-eyed person began talking with someone on the bus, and that's the last he knew of that situation. So that's just a quick little story to get us a little bit of an appetizer. There's much more to come.
Okay, I've got a very famous story that started a craze on the internet. So this is 1996. The internet is brand
So, okay,
spanking new.
so this is the one that got everything started. This is
This
where
is
the
the
phenomenon.
this is the Snow White of black-eyed children cases. This is the WrestleMania one. This is the
Yes.
first. This is the first story. So Brian Bethel, uh, he shares his story on a forum, which is like a place where people will go on the internet and talk. I guess pre Facebook, if you can imagine that. 1996, right? Not even everybody had the internet. What? It's crazy. So he goes on this forum online. It's called Creepy Pasta. It was a famous forum for creepy
Not
things.
creepy, not creepy pastor.
No, Creepy Pasta. Was that your nickname? And just kidding.
That was my nickname in seminary when all the girls didn't want to see me.
So this is a forum for paranormal things. So he posts a story about something that happened to him in Abilene, Texas. So that's where he's from, or that's where this happened anyway. So he's driving his car. Two young boys approach his car. I guess he stopped, maybe at a traffic light or something like that. These two young boys approach his car. He doesn't think anything's wrong at first. They're about 9 to 12 years old, so innocent enough looking children. Of course, you're going to roll down your window and talk to them. The boys are asking for a lift. Apparently, they tried to go see a movie, but they didn't have enough money, and now they just need to get home. He thinks, well, that's kind of a strange story. Like, where are your parents? But he's thinking, well, I should be a good Samaritan, and I should give these two children a lift home. So he starts reaching for the door, but as he's reaching for the door, he looks back at the children and he notices for the first time that their eyes are completely black, which would be startling for anybody, I think. Um, so he kind of hesitates, and the children get angry that he's hesitating, and they start demanding that he lets them in. So they're like trying the door handle, and I guess he had the door handle locked. He was going to unlock it for them. They want to get into his car. Now he's freaking out. He rolls up the window and he starts driving away because he's like, I'm not giving these kids a ride home. They're trying to get in my car. They got black eyes. All of a sudden, their mood like shifted really fast. Like they went from like, hey, can we have a ride home because we need to get back to our parents, to like, you have to let us into your car. So they just start demanding. As he's driving away, he looks back and notices that the two boys are completely gone. So he didn't see them disappear. He looked at the road and then he looked back, but they weren't there anymore. So that's very suspicious.
So this is the one that started all. We failed to mention something else about them, is that they inspire fear just by being in their presence.
Like a feeling of dread.
Dread, doom,
Yeah.
fear. just
And we've seen that with other things on the
yeah,
show.
the green orb, the green meanie. Yeah, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Or was it the blue meanie? The green meanie. I think.
And people felt unsettled with the reports of the Men in Black too. So that's a
Yeah.
common theme to paranormal activity. I mean, it's unsettling, right? So
Yeah. So our next story, um, it happens in the middle of the night. So uh, husband and wife are sleeping in their beds, and they got a child that's sleeping in their bed with them, and their dog likes to sleep at the end of the bed, and
there's too many people in this bed.
yeah, so the dog sits right up all of a sudden out of nowhere, and he's kind of growling, and the wife she's kind of interested to see what's going on with the dog, and she's just like she's thinking that it's the house is settling. She's thinking that the dog is just freaking out for no reason. uh, could be their roommate who's coming home or whatever, and just making noise and just going to his room or something. And she with their kids, they usually just show them there's nothing there, don't worry. So they were going to show this dog who was only a pup. He was only 3 months old, but so she said we're going to show this dog that it's okay. And so she's like, okay. So the dog kind of led her to the front door, and the dog begins growling even louder. And so she's like, okay, I'm just going to show this dog. Just open the door. But as she's about to open the door, the dog whimpers away.
Whoa.
And so this all of a sudden changes how she's feeling about it all. So she's like, maybe I better listen to this dog. And so she decides that she's going to take a look through the peephole. And so she sees what appears to be, she's 21, this woman. So she sees a girl that looks about 16 or 17, long blonde hair, and the bangs are kind of covering her eyes, and a 3 to 5 year old girl holding her hand. And so uh, she's looking, and she's like feeling really weird about this. Um, and as she's looking, the 16-year-old girl speaks. She says, "Let us in. We need to use your phone." And just in a monotone sort of way. And so her first thought is, how do they even know I'm here?
I thought you were going to say, how do they even know I have a phone?
Yeah, that's true.
How did you know I had a phone? What?
Yeah, how do they know that she's right at the door looking at them?
Right.
She
Because you
hasn't made
can't
a
see,
noise.
if you've never looked through a peephole, if you try to look through the other side, you can't actually see.
No, you
You
don't
can't
see
see
anything.
into the other side of the peephole because it only
Yeah,
works
so
one way.
she's even more creeped out. So she's the dog is long gone out of the room. So she's backing up, and then they decide to say, "We aren't going to hurt you. If we wanted to do that, we'd break in. We really just need to call our mom." And so she
That's a
went back up
creepy.
to the room, closed all the blinds, and uh, she was just freaking out for the rest of the night, and she didn't sleep the rest of that night. That to me, that's a creepy story.
If you're trying to get into somebody's house, maybe don't mention hurting them at all. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? like, please let us in. We're not going to hurt you. Like, why are you even bringing it up? Who said anything about hurting? What? Why?
yeah.
No, that's creepy.
but at no point did she respond to them.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so they just kept on talking. And as she's in her bedroom, she could hear them, let us in,
So
and just getting more aggressive.
they could sense her presence somehow.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, I just yawned there, but it's okay. We can cut out the yawns because we do a lot of editing after the show.
No, this is live.
This is live? I thought we were doing the rehearsal.
No, this is the real deal.
This is the real deal. Okay, I'll be on my top game now. All right, I got a story all the way from Portland, Oregon.
The home, not the real home. The real home is Winnipeg, but he was very, very popular in Winnipeg. Really popular in Portland. Roddy Piper.
Yeah, we discussed this before. My uncle went to school with Roddy Piper in
You
Winnipeg.
didn't
Not
tell
in
us
Portland.
that.
I didn't tell you that.
No,
My uncle went to school with Roddy Piper in Winnipeg.
that's really cool.
I
Were
know.
they friends?
No, I think he knew him, and then Roddy Piper became famous after, and he's like, "Hey, that guy's from my school, my high
Well,
school."
from what I know, is Roddy Piper was a bit of a
Party animal.
tough guy, even in school.
Oh
So,
yeah.
unless your dad was a tough guy, I don't think he'd
No,
be
my
going to
uncle.
the same
My
school.
uncle.
Yes.
Roddy Piper's on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, he plays an amateur wrestler in the show.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Portland, Oregon. A 47-year-old building manager, a woman. This is in 2004. So her job, because she's a building manager, she often has people coming up to her apartment and asking her for things like my sink is broken, or I just saw a ghost. Who knows what people are coming to bother her with. So she wasn't that surprised when. Wait. Oh yeah. So this 16-year-old comes up to the door and knocks, and she opens the door. And the 16-year-old asks to come into her apartment. But when the 16-year-old looks up, because he was kind of looking down at first, when he looks up, his eyes are completely black. And like we said before, she immediately has this overwhelming sense of dread and like fear. She actually reports that she felt like when he was looking at her that she was going to die. So she didn't even say anything to him. She just slams the door, like slams the door right in his face and locks the door, and then just stays in her apartment, freaking out. Right?
Well, I'd freak out too.
Yeah, but this is interesting that because a lot of the reports are children, but some of them are teenagers, and you even had the one about the guy on the bus who's an adult. So I guess black-eyed children grow up and get older.
Well, do they? Yeah, that's something.
What
we'll
are
wrestle
they?
with that.
That's the
We'll wrestle
thing.
with that with. We'll
With
wrestle
that,
with
yeah.
that
But
a little bit later.
that's interesting. You're seeing all ages of black-eyed.
They haven't earned their sunglasses yet.
But see, I like to call them black-eyed kids because it sounds like you said. It sounds like a band or something. So it's cool.
All right. My next story happens on Halloween.
Whoa.
So this family, they hadn't got much action that night with some candy given out, and husband and wife had been watching some ghost stories, a lot like our podcast. Those the ghost hunters and whatnot.
Yeah.
They've been watching one of those shows, and the person who told the story, she's not much of a believer in that kind of stuff. She doesn't kind of mess around with that. So, but she still likes, it's Halloween, right? You kind of get into it. And so, it's about 9:30. They've been watching this ghost stuff for another half hour, and they have this American bulldog. They're almost like pit bulls, right?
Right.
And
Not
so
the British bull.
No, it's more like American bully. It's big. But this dog is it's playful, and so they got it in the crate. So when the kids come to the door, it will come out and try and play with the kids, and then they have to chase it. You know what I mean. And it's a pretty docile, fun dog, playful dog. But some kids, they might get scared because it looks like a pit bull. Uh, so they got it in the crate. And so husband decides that he's going to go get ready for bed. It's about 10 o'clock now. He's going to have a shower, get ready for bed. And so she's finishing up her ghost movies, and she's a little on edge. And so she's all of a sudden she hears a knock at the door. Can you give me a knocking sound?
Uh,
Oh, that's them. So she hears that and she thinks, well, why are they? This is her first thought. Why are they not ringing the doorbell? Because their doorbell lit up. And even though they got the lights off because the trick or treating's over, right? It's 10 o'clock. So her other thought was, what are they doing here at 10 o'clock at night? Like, no kid should be trick or treating at 10 o'clock at night. But they're for some reason they had a glass window right next to their door where it wasn't fogged out. You could kind of see in, so she could see these kids were at the door. So she's like, oh, they're gonna see me. I don't want to be rude and ignore them. So she comes and she kind of just opens the door a little bit of crack, and they say in the monotone voice, please, ma'am, we need to use your phone to call our mom. And this time it's a 12-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy. And it seems like the older one's always in charge, kind of thing, of speaking. And so the first thought is, well, why don't you have a cell phone? Like all 12-year-old girls have cell phones now. So that was her first thought. So she says to them, well, why don't you have your own phone? And the boy and the girl, they turned to each other, looked like they were going to speak to each other, and turned and looked to each other. And then the girl says, oh, my battery for my cell phone is all out of power. So we need to go inside and use your phone. And so I guess she's kind of bothered by some of the little red flags that are popping up here. And the light isn't bright enough to kind of reveal that they got black eyes yet. So she doesn't know. Hair's blocking it or whatnot, different things. And so she's feeling a bit uneasy though in her spirit. She's kind of wrestling her motherly spirit and her her fear spirit, I guess. So she says, tell you what, give me your mother's phone number. I will call her and let her know where you are so she can come get you. Again, they turn to each other and look at each other without saying a word. The girl then speaks up. Well, my brother really needs to go to the bathroom. Can we please come inside? And the girl gets a little closer, and you could see the black of her eyes. And all of a sudden, this woman freaks out and slams the door. And she wants to go up and call her husband, but he's in the shower. So she calls him, but he doesn't respond. But she doesn't want to go upstairs because she doesn't want to lose sight of them, because that'll even freak her out even more. And so they're just staying.
Sneak in the house or something.
Yeah, she doesn't know what's going on. So she wants to keep eye contact on them. And so she's phoning the neighbor to see if he can see them. And as soon as she gets on the phone, they start walking towards the street because I guess they don't want anyone else involved. And then the neighbor comes over and the kids are gone, disappeared. And yeah. That would be if that was to be faked by some kids, that would be a great prank on someone.
Well, and we can talk about that. Yeah, because you can get black contacts. And a lot of these reports happen after it's possible to have black contacts. So, and then that one's on Halloween too. So I mean, kids do play pranks on Halloween. So, but this is an interesting thing though, like that it's like, what was there a real phenomenon and then people started copying it, or you know what I mean, or are they all real?
But it also takes great to pull this off. You need Hollywood level acting.
Yeah, and we're talking about children.
Yes,
Children can't act.
one of them would just burst out laughing
Yeah,
somewhere, or somewhere just start goofing off and start, we got you. But that never happens.
there was a girl in my high school who had cat eye contacts, and she would wear them to school, and it was really freaky. It's really freaky trying to look at somebody and talk to them when they have cat eyes,
Yeah.
right?
Imagine Black Eyes having to talk to somebody.
Well, you remember that band Limp Bizkit? They had their guitarist in the '90s had black eyes, and I think that's like probably based on the black eyed children stories. But here's the thing. So you might be sitting there listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, these are just copycats copying this story. They're playing pranks. But I've got a story for you that proves you wrong. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So we're talking about Pine Ridge, South Dakota, USA. This is a report by a whole town. But here's the thing. This town is actually on a reserve, and it's the Ulaga Sioux people
Yep.
who claim that none of them had ever even heard of Black Eyed Kids or seen them in movies or anything. But these children started showing up in town that had black eyes. The people described them as being soulless. They would talk in a monotone voice. They would ask for food. They would ask to have permission to enter people's houses, but nobody would let them in because they didn't look right and they didn't know who they were either. Like, this is a small community town. They don't know whose children are these. Why are there children in our town all of a sudden? They would try to play with the real children in the town, and the children would run away and not play with them. This is pretty creepy. The town even got a shaman to come in and try to like purify the village to get rid of these things. And apparently, after the shaman like blessed the town, the black-eyed children stopped showing up. So that's interesting too. But so here's a whole town reporting on this. Multiple people in the town warning their children to not go out and not play with these other children that are showing up. Where did these children come from? Then they left. Very strange. But similar things, right? The monotone. They're asking to come into the house. They're asking for food. And it didn't actually say if they were like walking in pairs, but there's a lot of people who also report that they always come in pairs. I think a couple of your stories, there was black-eyed children were in pairs. The original story has two children.
Wait. Are we sure they're not Jehovah's Witnesses?
Oh my God, it all makes sense now.
They all come in pairs too, right?
They do. And they wear suits. And they kind of speak in monotone voice. You got another story
if
there?
you're Jehovah's Witness watching this, what are you doing? You're not allowed to watch this.
Learn how to modulate your tone. You know? Like, hello.
You don't want to be mistaken for black-eyed kids. Come on, JWs.
Yeah. Wait, BEK. People also call the black-eyed children BEKs. Yeah.
BEKs.
I mean, I've got another story here too.
Well, I have another one here.
Okay, go for it. You got this.
Okay, so this is another quick story. So this kid was waiting for his mother to finish her hair appointment. This is in 2008, March 17th. And he was 12 years old, and his mother was getting her hair done. And so he's waiting in the truck. I don't know why. Maybe it was after school or something. And he got picked up and she wanted her hair done. So he's waiting in the truck. And he saw this kid playing outside the truck. And he thought maybe it was someone from his school. And he slapped the window a bit to try and get the kid's attention. And when he did, he realized there was no one he knew, and that this kid had black eyes. And he had he started asking to let me in the truck. And he locks the doors. No, you're not getting in the truck. And so he's freaked out that he's crawling in the. This is a no cab or anything, right? It's no back cab. It's just one sort of. It's an old beat up truck. So he's crawling in the where you put your feet, so the guy can't see him.
Oh,
And,
right.
And so his mom comes back and says there was this kid with black eyes who came in the hair salon asking to borrow the keys to my truck so we could come in. And I said no, obviously. But yeah, so that's an interesting one too. Um,
Weird.
so he's now in his 20s. He was 12 years old at the time. So it's interesting now that he's telling the story from when he was 12 years old, and not when he was 12. Not that he's 12 now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a similar thing with paranormal um, encounters that people might not tell them for years because they don't want people to think they're crazy, or um, maybe they just don't have the courage to tell their story yet. You know.
The other thing I want to say about these is if you're looking for whether they're fake or not, um, look for extra over the top information.
Right.
Like if they're like it's probably fake if it doesn't stay to the normal pattern. Like if they're all doing outlandish things, right? It's simple. They knock on your door. They want to come inside. They want to ride. They they want to come in your house. And if it's they start doing other wacko things, it's probably fake.
Could be. I wondered that. I was like, how come all these stories are just that black-eyed children come, they try to ask to get in, but people don't let them in? What would happen if you let them in?
Yeah, that's the big question.
That is the big question. So I do have a story of a couple that claims to have let two black-eyed
Oh,
children into the house.
and
Now,
this is
may or may not be real. I don't know. Okay, but
this is very rare that people are letting these kids in.
so this is rural Vermont. A couple years ago.
Well, Vermont people from
I'm
if you're from Vermont,
Vermont. Yeah, exactly. So this couple here's a knocking at their door at 2 a.m, which I think is strange already. Why would you even answer your door at 2 a.m? But they open the door and there's a boy and a girl, and they describe them as being very old-fashioned looking, like they had old-fashioned haircuts. They're wearing old clothing, so immediately that already seems strange. But they didn't notice that their eyes were black when they first started talking to them. Um, and they said that their parents weren't home. They live in the neighborhood, but their parents weren't home, so they need somewhere to wait for their parents. I don't know. Seems weird. Seems like a weird story. So the wife actually lets them in, and these two children, they walk into their living room, sit on their couch, and they just start staring straight ahead, and they don't say anything. And the wife and husband, it's a couple, they start asking the children questions like, "Oh, where are your parents? Where were you all this time? Why is it 2 a.m? Why are you outside at 2 a.m?" We keep asking the children questions. They don't answer anything. They just stare. The husband starts to get a headache, like a really bad headache, and then the children like get up and start walking towards the door, and the husband at this point starts to get a nosebleed, and the wife's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So she starts helping him with his nosebleed. All of a sudden, the lights in their house start flashing on and off, and then they turn off, and the two kids say in a monotone voice, they say in unison, they say, "Our parents are home now," or "Our parents have arrived," is what they say. They hear a car pull up in the driveway, so the wife goes to open the door.
Now they haven't called anyone at this point. They just
they didn't call anybody. They were just trying to talk to these kids. A car pulls up. the wife opens the door and she sees a car with two men dressed in black in the car. The children walk out of the house and she just lets them go because she's like, I don't know, what these kids are super weird, right? And the car drives off. She goes back to help her husband. His nose is bleeding. He keeps getting plagued by headaches even after the children have left. They have pets. Both their pets suffer hemorrhages in the next week. The husband ends up getting cancer, and then the wife ends up suffering from headaches and nosebleeds.
Don't they have 3 cats and two die and then one has a hemorrhage?
Yeah. So you saw this story too.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're one of their. Yeah. Was it 2 cats died? Something
I
like that.
think so.
Yeah. So pretty crazy story. Only story I've seen of people letting black-eyed children into their house. Kind of goes off the idea that they have something to do with the Men in Black, I guess, as well. So there you have it. I mean,
And
it could.
getting back to our
Yeah.
Men in Black episode, they kids were seen in the car of the Men in Black as well.
It's true. Also, the Men in Black spoke in monotone voices, like robots almost. Yeah.
So, questions: why are the kids not trying to hide their black eyes?
How would you hide your black eyes?
Sunglasses.
You'd have to wear
Sunglasses.
regular. Well, see, the Men in Black wear sunglasses, so that's
Yeah, so that's the thing. Why are they not wearing sunglasses? Or is this all part of the deal to freak the shit out of people, right? And it's just
maybe. Like we discussed that with the Men in Black episode. Men in Black could just be like purposely messing with people, and that's kind of what they do. And maybe these children they don't hide their black eyes because they want to strike fear into you. They're like that.
Yeah,
you want to strike
because
fear
with the sunglasses, they just look like normal kids, pretty much, right?
Normal kids wear sunglasses.
So
Yeah, like if they wore those little sunglasses with the star shape lenses, and they're like pink and glittery.
Well,
But
yeah,
so I mean that's one thing. Also, there's also a smell of sulfur, which was in some of the smaller stories that I had seen. So that's something that we had seen on the ranch stories. Did we see smell?
yeah. I was noticing that a lot of abduction stories,
Abduction, yeah, that's right.
there is a smell of sulfur.
Mhm.
So this also leads back to my theory of it being demon related, because that's the devil's sort of thing is sulfur, right? The smell of sulfur. So I wonder if these are just shape shifting demons again, taking that form and running with this urban legend that has caught the attention of social media.
Right, and if you want to think that these things are somehow changing their body to shapeshift and to look human, but maybe they can't change their eyes. Maybe they can change everything else, but for some reason their eyes are still black.
Well,
That's just a thought I had.
that is an interesting point because the Bible says that the eyes are your windows to your soul. So
Also,
if they're demons, it's going to be black.
Also, if you watch movies with CGI characters and the eyes look wrong, you immediately become unsettled and oh, that looks fake. Do you remember watching The Mummy and they showed The Rock as the Scorpion King and he comes in he's all CGI and the eyes look so bad and wonky they didn't because the CGI was so bad back then and immediately you're oh, that just doesn't look right. So the eyes are often if you get the eyes right, then your character will look better and it'll be more comforting to humans.
So you're saying demons haven't mastered CGI yet?
They don't know how to do the eyes.
They're like, listen, we can't do the eyes.
They don't have the technology.
Let's just
don't
go
have the
with black.
technology.
Well,
also pictures of the gray aliens, of the grays, classic kind of pictures of the grays, also have large black eyes, right? That's right.
Yeah, that's something that we noticed. So, with Men in Black, you know, we don't know what their eyes look like because they always got the sunglasses on. But this would tie into some sort of extraterrestrial sort of belief system that I believe that they want to fool us into believing is a thing. Because if we believe the aliens, we're not going to pay attention to anything demonic.
Now, here's another totally different avenue, but could there be a condition, like a medical condition, that turns people's eyes black?
Hmm.
And these are legitimate children asking for help, but just because they have black eyes, everybody's like slamming doors in their faces.
He's like, oh, we're not getting help again.
I wish my eyes were black. I'm so sad. Just want some
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, well, maybe don't say
That we're not going to
we're
hurt
not
you.
going to hurt you. We would just break into your house. Don't say that if that's your condition.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. That doesn't seem right to me because I feel like doctors would know about this if that was true. That if there was a condition that. But I do think of all the things we've looked at, maybe the Men in Black.
Let's look at this again. Let's quickly just.
Oh God! Oh my God! You know, the other one's freakier. The girl is freakier.
The fake one?
Yeah, that's scary. That's from a movie.
I don't know. I just found
there's a lot of black eyed. See, this is like one of those phenomenons, right? Where it starts with stories that people have of real life encounters, and then it makes its way into Hollywood because Hollywood knows, oh, that's what people think is scary. So now we're gonna make like black eyed children.
So there's a movie out there about the black eyed kids.
I saw that. Yeah,
It's on.
it looks pretty cheap though.
It's got 2 stars, and it's on Tubi TV right now, so you can watch it for free. But maybe we'll give it a watch and have some entertainment and just laugh at it all.
There is a lot of. It's kind of interesting. Like I think there's a back and forth between like paranormal activity happens, and then Hollywood tries to make a movie about it, and if there are people like faking these things, they're like they can be inspired by Hollywood. So then it comes back to the real world, you know, where people like, or maybe people see the movie and then they're like, wait, that happened to me too. And then they come forward with their story and then there's more stories. So there's kind of this like give and take between Hollywood and actual paranormal activity.
Yeah, you almost wonder if like the movie and the media and even podcasts like ours are fueling the activity.
Well, I actually saw something spooky. It said that black-eyed children actually affect people who study black-eyed children. So if you read an article about black-eyed kids, or if you watch a podcast,
well, now you tell me,
or you make a podcast about black-eyed kids, then you'll.
Or you're watching our podcast.
So if you made it all the way through this podcast, you're at a higher risk of encountering black-eyed children.
But there's good news. Just contact either Craig the Grey or the Enlightened One, and we'll walk you through it, and we'll tell you what you need to do.
Yeah, don't let them in. Don't give them any food. And
if you got some holy water, just throw it on them. They'll
slam a door in their face, you know. And you know what makes me feel better if I have an encounter with the paranormal activity is making myself feel better by buying a t-shirt. That always helps.
Yeah, you know, the more paranormal T-shirts I have, the safer I feel.
Whoa. Wow, that's real. That's a real effect that happens.
And today, oh, you know what? Every shirt, I'm going to guarantee you this. So, what these shirts are going to do for you, I'm going to pray over every single shirt that gets sold.
Whoa.
So
Wait.
when you
But you don't get the shirts before.
Yes, but I know they're being ordered, and I can pray for
okay.
that shirt that is getting sent out.
All right.
So I don't put any holy oil or water or anything like that. But I pray over the shirt as it's being sent to you, so it will protect you because it has the blessing of the Enlightened.
Wow. That's a once in a lifetime guarantee. You don't get that from other podcasts.
No,
That's the thing. You just don't get that from other podcasts.
you don't buy a shirt and guarantee safety from ghosts and ghouls.
And Black
We
Eyed
do that
Peas.
here on our show. You buy a shirt, it's going to protect you because it's been.
It actually counteracts the effect of having watched the show. Now you have protection from the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, so we're causing the problem.
Yeah, but we're solving the problem. That's amazing.
Yeah, like we don't just leave, hey, it's your problem now. You watch the show. It's not no, but we're letting you know we have the solution. Buy a blessed shirt of Wrestling with the Paranormal, and it's going to help you out.
Purple or black?
Yeah, I'd recommend the purple because it's going to stand out on those nights when you're walking home from work or whatever, like that. Right? It's a little bit brighter. But you would recommend the gray because, well, that's your name.
It's gray, yeah. It's like a charcoal. It's actually quite nice. It's a nice
I do like it.
kind of color, yeah. It's a darker gray.
What's your shirt you're wearing now?
This is Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah.
That's
Calvin
awesome.
and Hobbes shirt. Look how freaked out they are. They're scared, man.
They're scared of the black-eyed kids, too.
They're terrified.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I was yesterday, I don't know when it's coming up, but I was on another podcast called Raccoon Pod. It's my friend's podcast about game design. I was on there talking about working for an escape room. I don't know when that will be out, but I promoted this show on that show. So if you have any interest in game design and you're watching this show, you can watch Raccoon Pod. It's on.
Well, that's interesting because overnight we got another 6 subscribers, so I wonder if that came from.
Ooh.
So
Awesome.
We are now at 802 subscribers, and we're needing those other 198 to get us to the next threshold. And just hit that subscribe button if you're watching, and hit that little bell. But do you have any final thoughts?
Freaky. I don't know. We did an episode on children before. Like anything to do with children is extra scary because we think of children as being these fun, right? Especially at Christmas, they're just fun people to be around, little people. But when their eyes are black and they're, trying to get into your house and talking in a robot voice, like it just changes everything. It's a whole new ball game at that point.
Yeah. So, and I don't fake this. Anyone out there, don't do the hoaxes because it takes away from the other paranormal experiences. Don't hoax it and don't try to fake it because it takes away from some of the other stories that we have, and they're really interesting. So as you said, buy yourself a shirt. Go to effingwrestling.com and follow all our social media.
You got your finger on the button?
The button, like Ronald Reagan, damn it.
All right, everybody. Just remember, keep on wrestling with the paranormal.